Good evening, people. I'm not going to start the show until I start seeing people show up in here. Hope everybody's having a good evening, had a great week. Let's just wait till people start showing up and we'll start the show. Wow, so much has happened in the span of a week. It's crazy. So much has happened. Let's see. Let's make sure that my mic is on. Yeah, the mic is on. All the way up. Oof. Oh, what up, Elvis? My man all the way out in AZ. Hope you're doing well, brother. Good to see you tonight. Just let me know when you show up in the room. Just give a shout so I know people are in here. Sometimes this Facebook thing can be funny. So just let it be known. Well, why I got banned. When you make a comment to sensitive minds, they can easily report you. And I was reported. And there's no recourse to when you get reported. Basically what happens is if you have a record of being reported, basically, cuz what's up, baby? You can receive like a ban. So you get banned from Facebook a week here, 2 days there, whatever. And I got banned for 30 days. And the sad thing about it was we couldn't do the show because of the ban, because nobody else was an administrator to the page, to which I've changed that now. So, yeah, that's why we got banned. Cuzzo, what's good? I love you, baby. I hope you and the kids are doing well. Tell my boy I said what up. I hope everybody can hear me. Not like last week, I guess I had my mic too low. But, I hope everybody's hearing me. Man. It's getting crazier and crazier by the moment, each day that goes by. But here we are. It's Sunday. I just had Sunday dinner with my wife, and yeah, I'm pleasantly full. Miss Halcyon Williams, how are you? Glad to see you all around. Welcome to the show. I'm gonna start the show shortly. I just want to wait for some people to make their way to the room. Yeah, it's been a crazy week. How's everybody feeling tonight? Is everybody good? Are we our concerns growing as to what we're seeing here? Yeah, mic check. We coming in clear. Man. I've been having discussions with a lot of people, specifically online, because one, we're all in lockdown at this point still, and two, there's so many things going on, and I don't think people are truly recognizing what's happening right now. People who don't pay attention or want to continue to have their heads in the sand are really not taking notice of the changes that are gonna come, and they're gonna come quickly. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to adjust myself here to be more comfortable. I don't want to be leaning over or whatever while I speak. But let's start with this. I'm gonna share a few things with you guys. First of all, while we have Arizona in the mindset, I want to give a shout out to our friends, Mr. Ronald and Via Childs out in Arizona. Right now, I'm going to try to share something with everybody that's watching. I'm going to do a screen share. Let's see. Here we go. So, Mr. Ronald and Via Childs are the owners of a food truck called Rima Soul. I hope everybody's seeing this. That is Miss Via Childs, Ronald's wife. They are partners. As you can see, the food truck is in the back. And the containers that she's standing in front of is this new product that they're marketing. This is Rima Soul's ginger root tea. Now there's a regular tea, and as you can see down here, there's strawberries. There's a strawberry ginger root tea. Now I was trying to get the product for the show today. I received the product, but sadly to say, USPS, it seemed like they were playing kickball with my package, and both the containers leaked out. They literally showed up to my doorstep. Excuse me. They showed up to my doorstep with the package in a plastic bag. It was a sad sight. However, as we always try to do here on the set, we want to support those that we believe in, support those people that support us as well. And I recognize this couple. I respect what they do. They have an amazing business. They're originally from New York, of course. They migrated to Arizona. They had a brick and mortar store, which they opted to close down after some years. Very successful. They opted for a food truck, and they're traveling and selling their food. Now, I just look at their pictures, and I see their food and some videos of Ronald cooking it up, chefing it up inside the food truck. And when you see these images, you could just smell the goodness coming off the video. But I digress. Right now, Rima Soul sells this ginger root tea. It's supposed to help in a variety of ways. And you can see right here the ingredients. That's all they put in it. They don't put anything else. And what I did was, whatever was salvaged, because the containers were still closed, I put them in the refrigerator to chill for a little while. And yeah, I had a taste of both, and they were both very good. But I spoke to the couple, and they stated that they would be sending me out a new order, which I'm waiting for now. But just understand, here at the set, we want to support all our entrepreneurs, all of those in the community, the people that are watching the show, supporting the show, people that we know, friends of friends. We want to give everybody the opportunity to connect with everybody that comes to the show. Because again, as I always tell you, it's not about me. This is about you guys. So if you're interested, go to their website, or better yet, go to their Facebook page, Rima Soul Cuisine. But you know what? Let me bring it back up here. Let me bring it back up here for everybody, so you guys can just see for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to X this out. Here it is. See, you can see their food truck here. Let me close these out. You can see their food truck here, Rima Soul Cuisine. They're on Instagram as well. And they just, as you can see, they had to cancel an event. But again, when I see videos of Ronald cooking or the events that they've had in the past, the lines are out the door. As you can see, this advertisement for the ginger root tea that I was just telling you guys about. Go to their Facebook page. Again, it's Rima Soul Cuisine, and they're also on Instagram as well. Reach out. They use Cash App. You guys can, order up and support the business, because that's what we're about, right? We're about supporting each other no matter what we do. I don't care if you sell, dog slippers. If you have a business and you want, advertisement, you want to reach an audience, shoot me a DM, send me an email, theset6145@gmail.com, and we will definitely get the word out. So salute to Via and Ronald Childs. As you guys know, you always see me with shirts, different shirts. This just happens to be one for the show. But I also have two very hardworking brothers that have their own business. As you can see right here, this right here is urbanmechanics.com, where I get all of my Sunset Park merch. This is owned by a Mr. Louis Kest Soto and a Robin Ribs Padro. They're two old graffiti artists from my neighborhood. They're both working men, but they never lost their love of art, and they started their own clothing line. They do amazing silk screening work, as you can see and have seen in the past, me wearing their work. You can get custom work done from them, and here it is. I mean, anything you want, especially when it comes to the neighborhood, Sunset Park or even Brooklyn, they have a bunch of great pieces. So again, it's urbanmechanics.com. Come down here, order your joints, your hoodies, especially now. You know the fall is here. We're gonna be in hoodie and Tim weather. And yeah, let them know that the set sent you. So big salute to my brothers and their business. Um, they're great guys, great work, and they're just they're really good people to do business with. On another note, last week I mentioned to everybody on the heels of clothing. I spoke to my brother, Mr. Shawnee Corey. He's had this business for 4 to 6 years uh, in Brooklyn, and I wanted to share his website with you guys as well because you know somebody tells you, "Oh yeah, go here, go there," it doesn't really do it justice. So I'm gonna share his website with you so that you guys can see. And this is called leisurelife.com. Here's the website. He just did this pillow line. And ladies, I know you guys love throw pillows. And as you can see, these things, you know, they're colorful. They look really nice. The quality of the work and the materials that are used are spot on. There's nothing cheap about his work. He does hoodies. This champion line that he did, let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. Yeah, as you can see, he changed it to Crooklyn, and they made it waist length for you girls, you know, you ladies that want to look cute in a joint. That's it right there. He has so much more for the fellas too. And look at these socks. I know socks are a big thing right now, and he got them. And he's got some amazing colorways. And the vintage joints. Anybody from New York knows these starter jackets were like gold. And I remember dudes used to wear them in the winter. So he has a whole vintage line in his spot. And the original pieces, the original Leisure Life line, Mr. Corey was the first person that I seen put a jacket in a kimono format. And I know some time had passed and I started realizing other people were doing it, but he was the first. Okay? So, again, check out my guy at Leisure Life New York City. It's in Brooklyn. You can go on the website. You know, right now, I'm not sure if the store is open, but if you happen to go, the store is fire. The whole atmosphere about it is just dope. You know, so if you go there, check it out, man. It's a really nice spot. Let's see. Who else do we have up? Nope, that's it. Oh, good evening to everybody in Florida. I see a young lady from Florida in the room. Good evening to you, young lady. I hope you're well. So, as I said, my partner is on the road right now, conducting business, so I'm going to be shooting the show here. In another week or so, we're going to have an amazing show that I said, you know, everybody with children and young adult children should tune into. This is a story that I want everybody to be a part of. It's going to be a great show. The person I have coming on has an amazing story of his life, and I would really implore everybody to make sure that you watch this show, especially in this moment in time, the way things are. Also, I want to send a get well and amazing energy to a brother who is in the hospital right now. I won't say his name. I won't divulge his name. But what I will say is this brother is an amazing person. He's a talented musician and artist, and he's fallen ill. I wasn't aware of what was going on, and I was contacted from one of his children. And I hope everybody that watches the show can send some good energy and prayers out to him. My general, my homeboy, my brother from the 10474. Get well soon, and I hope to speak to you in the near future. I know it's going to take some time because you're dealing with something very serious, but once again, we at the set, we want to make sure that we sending good vibes in your direction so that you make a speedy recovery. So, okay. Where do we start? Well, I'm going to start with the obvious. We had the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg recently, and that has left the future of the Supreme Court in a very funny place. Right now, they're trying to push through a Supreme Court justice who, for all intents and purposes, in my mind, is a religious zealot. And that's the only way I know how to put it. Uh, at this time, people really don't understand what is happening and what direction we're headed in. I mean, nobody really can tell the future. But if you're paying attention to what's happening within government and all the pieces that are being moved around, you would understand the direction that we're headed in. So, sorry, I got to scratch my leg. So, this woman, uh, she is a seriously religious person, and that's putting it mildly. She clerked for Antonin Scalia, who was the Supreme Court justice who passed away under Obama, and they have a very strict understanding and belief when it comes to religion and how those two things mesh in their lives. Now, I say this to say that I am not I'm not the type of person to down somebody for their religious beliefs. I believe that the faith is for the faithful. If you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you are a Buddhist, if you're an atheist, whatever it is that you are, that faith is for you. Now, the problem starts with the people who teach you the faith. And if anybody understands what I'm saying just by that sentence, for those that don't, I'm going to explain. Nobody that I know of has ever picked up a Bible and become a Christian. You become a Christian or a Catholic or a Jew or a Muslim or Buddhist by someone teaching you the faith. What does that mean? A person will give you the interpretation that has been passed on to them to you. So their understanding of Scripture or the Quran, or I don't know what Jewish people call their book, the Torah, or whatever it is, they pass that understanding on to you. Now, as we understand, there are always people with motives and agendas who lurk and work within faith, right? Just recently, we've gone through at least 15 years. I'm sorry, we've gone through more than that. Almost 20 years of people saying that Islam or the Muslim religion is a religion of death. It's a cult of death. I know that to be completely and utterly false. Muslims have been in the United States, man, since the auto industry boom, and probably even further than that. But let's just say that. Let's start there. It's the same reason why if you go to Michigan, in Detroit, there is a little Mecca because they came here for jobs, they built their communities, they bought stores and houses, and they built mosques, and they had been there for a very long time. And it wasn't up until 2001 that the people in those areas had no problem with them. I mean, for the most part, nobody was saying, they're trying to behead us, so they're going to start Sharia law. No. So my point is, whoever teaches you the faith can skew your understanding because you come into the faith as a child. You don't know anything. That's the best way for me to put it. You have some sort of understanding from things that you've heard or conversations that you've had with people. But when you come into the faith, you're a child. You have the understanding of a child because the faith is complicated and it's long. If you look at any of these religious books, They're not they're not an easy read, and there's parables and all sorts of things that need to be explained to you. So my point is, whoever is teaching the faith can give you a perverted version. I say that to say that this woman who is coming or being has been nominated to the Supreme Court believes in such a skewed understanding of what her faith really means. I was reading an article, and one of her students was saying that she believes that the Constitution is supposed to be interpreted in the way that the founding fathers originally intended it to be interpreted. Sorry, my GoPro is acting up. Now, why does that cause a problem for me? Well, during the founding fathers' time, what was happening? Were we equal? Was it all men created equal? We all know that to be false. People of color were not equal. All men were not created equal, not in their eyes, not in anybody's eyes. So, for somebody like that to be making their way onto the Supreme Court, does everybody understand how everything else that follows when it comes to sort of a liberal way of living your life, how that can become a problem? We talk about abortion, right? And please understand too, this is coming from a party that speaks of smaller government constantly, has always been their mantra. I don't want government in my business. I don't want government telling me to. But if you look at their representatives, they'll be the first ones to tell you, hey, if a woman is raped, you know, that's sort of a gift. She has to make the best out of a bad situation. And I bring that up as well because a friend of mine also was posting about this. And I started exploring and looking into some of these representatives that speak and agree with this sort of understanding. And the reporter had asked him, I believe it was Rick Santorum, they had asked him, hey, so you have two daughters, and what if your daughter was raped? I know that's a hard question to pose to you, but, do you want to destroy her life by making her have that baby? And this bozo, with a straight face, said, well, how do we know if she doesn't kill that, if she kills that baby, that it won't destroy her life? How do we know if not having that baby will destroy her life? Like, I also had a friend that I spoke to this week, and I know it may seem that I'm jumping around, but it all ties together. I spoke to my friend. He moved from New York to Atlanta. He's a person of color, and he is gay. Now, we were having a casual conversation, but all of this made me think about this person because he's my brother. I love him. Great person. He's my friend. He's somebody that I care about. Now, if you remember, up until this point, there had been all these beatings of the drum of religious freedom and, don't force your way of life on me. And this is something that I've been talking about, joining in the fantasy, and people don't understand where it's coming from. They think that I'm trying to be hateful or homophobic or transphobic or whatever. The religious people were saying, I don't want to sell a cake to a couple because I don't believe in their lifestyle. And they were basically beating the drum of legal discrimination, right? What does that mean, Mr. A? Simple. It starts with denying a simple right, buying a cake, working in a specific job or for a specific corporation. You can't work here because this is a Christian company. There's a Hobby Lobby. There you go. That's where it starts. Because with these religious types, that's where it always starts very like low grumblings, and you'll hear things happen here and there. Then it turns into children of the corn. You're a sinner and you need to be punished. The problem is that there's people, everybody on this list, everybody that's here right now. Yeah, Chick-fil-A for sure. That was the obvious one. But everybody on this list and everybody watching the show, you know religious people. There are people in your family that, they only wear skirts and they don't celebrate Christmas or whatever. We all know them, right? Those very people have been receiving these instructions within their churches and mosques and synagogues or whatever the case may be. Not all of them. I'm just rounding everything about. I don't want to feel like I'm leaving anybody out. So you're receiving a perverted version of your faith, and now you've engaged in supporting a system of government that has no place within government. A system of government that's aligning themselves with religion, right? Religion and government should not be together. They should not live under the same house. But that's what's happening now. With the installation of this woman onto the Supreme Court, that solidifies religion and state. Now, why do I say that? This is the moment where these people who have been beating the drum of religious freedom will push this government to enact laws to infringe and impede people's lives. I'm a straight male. I don't use those tags, cis male, whatever. I'm a straight male. I'm a man. I love my wife. I love my children. I have no problem with anybody doing anything with their lives so long as it doesn't harm anybody. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, what kind of harm are you talking about? Everybody's level of harm is different. Two dudes kissing doesn't necessarily bother me. I'm not going to say I'm going to sit there and watch. A man dressed like a woman doesn't bother me. A female dressed like a male doesn't bother me. Lesbians do not bother me. So now we're at a point where this group, and it's a specific group of white evangelicals that will push for these laws. And then as time, incrementally as it has been, will turn into the children of the corn scenario. So we get this justice. It hasn't been nominated, but that's going to happen. And now these laws will be challenged. Everything's going to be challenged, right? What kind of country are we going to live in? Because in the name of faith, they want to push their faith on the nation. That's nonsense. This was never, and hear me and don't take offense, this was never a Christian nation. A friend of mine my brother told me yesterday while we were speaking that Jesus doesn't wear an American flag. He doesn't come down from the heavens flying on an eagle. Patriotism and religion are not to be together. And for all too long, people have been letting this happen. You've been accepting people marrying government to religion, which on its face, if you really look at it as adults, we're all adults, right? The actual tenets of Jesus, if you're a follower, don't coincide with the representation that they have at the top of government. Salute, Mr. Mark David Valentin, I see you. religious or religion do not coincide. The tenets of Jesus Christ do not coincide with the leadership that is at the top right now. Ladies, if your man told you, don't ever leave me alone in the room with a woman, wouldn't that bother you? Wouldn't you be like, hey, what's wrong with you? Wouldn't you be curious as to why this man cannot be left alone in the room with a female? What are you going to turn into a fucking werewolf? Any man that cannot be alone with another woman that is not his wife and expresses that outright has an issue. You have a control issue. Or you're trying to project this image of purity and piety and righteousness, which if anybody looks at Mike Pence, I don't get that vibe. Because Jesus didn't teach these people to show hatred and animosity towards their fellow man. So Pence goes to a football game, somebody takes a knee, oh, I'm out of here. They're disrespecting my country. My guy, you're showing your ass. You just are. And this is the reason why I don't support either party. They've allowed this moment in time to happen. It's culminated all, as if you watch, from the ending of Bush to now. It's been a cycle of social issues and not addressing them and allowing these things to go uncorrected. And now the church has married government. The vice president is a religious zealot. And again, if you're offended, I apologize, but it is what it is. And you can't tell me that you love Jesus and you follow Jesus, but you're up there worshiping the things and the actions that are being taken by them. And again, don't get me wrong. This isn't about either party. There is no either party. It's one party. It's a group of wealthy people doing it to us all. And this, I'm going to wrap this segment up about this woman, this new justice, with this. Everybody that watches this show, take your life into account. The people that you love, family and friends. Understand your differences with all those people. Now imagine, just imagine, the people that you love being stopped, hindered, mitigated in any way, shape, or form of living their lives because it doesn't fall into the accord of a now religious theocracy that we may or may not be living under. How would you feel? How would you feel if it affected you personally? What if they said no more interracial marriage? It's against God. I mean, it sounds funny, right? Because it's 2020. There's no way we could be going back to that, but is it really? I don't know. Enough of that. Let's talk about something else right now. So, Breonna Taylor. It's a sad situation, but anybody that's watching this show is not surprised. And me saying that to you should give you pause. Why? Well, it's 2020. We still haven't fixed this problem. Do we really, really believe that there's not a problem with police? I could name 5 people that I know personally who have been affected by police. And when I say affected, I mean somebody that they love, whether it be a sibling, aunt, or uncle, has been killed by police or has been beat or shot by police. And I'm going to stick with the first part. Killed. I know at least 3 people personally that their brothers and or family member were killed by police under really dubious circumstances. I know one gentleman who was shot by police, almost died. and he was cuffed. Cop shot him while he was cuffed. Cop came up to him, asserted that he had committed some sort of crime, and I won't say if he did or he didn't because it doesn't matter. What he was asserting was that this gentleman committed a crime that happened a day or two ago, and since he was familiar with this person that I know, he asserted that it was him, tried to rough him up and get physical. What he didn't understand was he had the right one because this person proceeded to whip this cop's ass. He was abusing his power. He whipped his ass. Backup showed up. They got him on the ground. As they were cuffing him, the cop that got his ass beat got up and shot him. Almost killed him. Now, there's not one person on this thread, there's not one person in this room that doesn't know a person who's lived a criminal lifestyle, knows a criminal personally, or hasn't done some form of criminality themselves. And I'm not saying robbing banks. If you stole shit from your job, you're a criminal, okay? If they caught you, you would go to jail. If you've shoplifted, if you've done anything, because again, when it comes to police, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be the crime of the century, and it definitely does not have to be, it could be anything. Why am I saying that? There are a lot of people who look like us that have joined on this bandwagon of being part of a party. And nobody here take offense to what I'm saying. This is not about you. I'm actually building up the story of what I've been experiencing, people I've been speaking to. So I recognize these people of color that have joined this bandwagon of being with a political party. And the irony about it is both parties have played a role in affecting your communities and had a hand in overtly or covertly in purposely through economics or however means keeping you in the community that you've been in and experiencing the things that you have growing up. So neither party serves our interest, okay? But I've noticed over the last 6 years, 5 years, that people of color have now tied or trying to tie their wagon to another political party. So I watch them because I want to hear both sides. I want to hear what these people are thinking. And there's a gentleman who I follow. I'm not going to say his name. He's an ex-police officer, and he's been making tons of YouTube videos that I watch. Recently, Breonna Taylor was murdered, and he had made quite a few videos just going after her entire life. Now, him being an ex-police officer had access or obtained access to the surveillance files or surveillance report that they had put together or have compiled for the investigation for them to obtain the warrant to go to her home and her ex-boyfriend's home, Jamarcus, whatever his name is. And, he's ranting that, this is why black people can't have nothing, a bunch of thugs, they always crying, they, damn liberal. So I said to myself, you know what, Mr. A, we're going to go to this bozo's website and we're going to read this report. Because you know what? You can't really speak on something unless you know all the facts. And since this dude is an ex-cop, I know he got some intel. So I'm going to go to his website and I'm going to go look. Excuse me, let me get a little drink. So I go to the website. I see the report. I start peeling through it. Now, I myself grew up in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. 11220, salute. I love y'all. Brooklyn, you know what it is. And during the time of me growing up, my block was flooded with heroin. And during those years, they developed a task force called TNT. I don't know how many stories I could tell you about all the things that went on, but my point is, When you're growing up as a teenager and you're privy to these sort of interactions, and people going to jail and sharing stories, and then you get a little older, you become aware of the law. I had an interest in law myself. I wanted to be a police officer up until that point of experiencing the brunt of TNT. But I had gone into corporate law. I was at Skadden Arps. I was at Simpson Thatcher. And I started to get a better understanding. So all that to say, reading the documents wasn't something foreign to me. Not only that, but the communications between these people, between Jamarcus and his people that were running the trap and moving the drugs, and his baby mamas and his, Breonna Taylor and all these people, when they were speaking, I understood what was happening. Now, again, the person that makes this video that's just flaming her and her ex-boyfriend and black people specifically. No room. Just they're guilty and that's it. She deserved it. What I come to understand and what I would implore everybody here to do is to read that report. The only thing that Breonna Taylor was guilty of was holding money. Did everybody hear that? Is everybody still here with me? The only thing Breonna Taylor was guilty of was holding money. Now, I know many of females who have dated drug dealers who have done more than hold money. There'll be some of you going to say, oh, but Mr. A, she rented a car and they found a dead body in it, blah, blah, blah. They did. She did rent the car. She lent it to her boyfriend. And there was a dead body found in it. So why wasn't she charged as an accessory to murder? Thank you, Halcyon. Why wasn't she charged as an accessory to murder or for conspiracy or whatever? Why were no charges levied against her? And nobody can explain that one. But that's the story that they want to fly. Because, we black people, we people of color, we don't ever do shit right. Then they floated that she was involved in his drug enterprise and she was running drugs to the trap. Evidently, they observed this ex-boyfriend picking up a package from her house. They then stated that the postmaster had marked this package as suspicious. You hear everybody hearing that, right? The police in charge of the investigation had gone to the postmaster, and the postmaster stated that this package was suspicious. Did they intercept any of his packages and open them up with a warrant? Nope. Did they see him pick up the package, break it open, and grab him in the process, and they found drugs in the package? No. Okay. Rental car, dead body, no charges. Suspicious package, i.e. through the postmaster, no drugs, no arrest. The only thing that she was guilty of was talking about actors involved in his enterprise and holding his money. Now, you probably wonder, Mr. A, why do you keep repeating that? Because it's important. It's vitally important. Because if you've been watching the news, what have they been doing? They made it seem like she was the left hand to the kingpin. You would imagine that they would have video of her doing hand-to-hand sales, video of her bringing drugs to the trap house, like walking in with a duffel bag, all suspect, looking around. You would believe that they would have grabbed her at some point in her car with drugs and guns and money, or when they raided her house, that they would have found guns, drugs, and or money. Now they obtain a warrant. I won't even get into the specifics of how they fucked up with that warrant. Let's forget about that because you have to present evidence to obtain a warrant, and the scrutiny that's used and the level of aggression that can be used is determined by the severity of the target. So executing a no-knock warrant on her ex-boyfriend at the trap house or wherever he was would be that much higher because they understood he had drugs, he had guns, and he had cash. Right? Everybody following. Cool. Let's jump to them getting to her house. Let's forget about that they grabbed her ex-boyfriend that night earlier or 20 miles away or 2 days before or they had the wrong house. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand there's a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts. One, the police fucked up. Two, the story that you were initially told about her being asleep and all this other jazz, those were purposefully leaked to the media to confuse everybody. They just were. Because we all know that she wasn't killed in her sleep. And I was even under that assumption myself. But when I took a step back and I read the report and I started observing everything that they had to build this case, it made perfect sense. They get to her house. If you haven't seen the crime scene photos, you need to look at them. 12 witnesses were interviewed, and the 12 witnesses stated they heard no people yelling, "It's the police," or "police open up," or let's just say generally, police, announcing who they were. Now, if you look at the crime scene photos, these are like townhouses, they look like. This is Breonna Taylor's door. This is another door to another apartment. So this is, let's say 304. This is 303. And then there's another one on that side. You mean to tell me those people didn't hear them yelling police? That 12 people were interviewed and only one unidentified witness said, "Oh, I heard them say police." They're banging on the door. These people get up. Who is it? Boom, boom, boom. Now understand something. Her ex-boyfriend is from Mississippi. And in the conversations that he was having with his other chicks, the girls were telling him, "Yo, this ain't Mississippi. Like, they're coming for you." Yeah, whatever. Because this guy was about that life. He didn't care. Fuck these police. They get to her door. They're banging. Her new boyfriend, black man, legal gun owner. Now, let's stop there for a second. In Kentucky, you do not need a license to purchase a firearm. We following? It's somewhat like Florida. You don't need a license to purchase a firearm. But this gentleman took it a step further. This gentleman went and applied for a carried concealed license. Now, Mr. A, so what? So what he applied? Well, understand something. When you apply for a carry concealed license, that's like being a cop. Meaning, in order for you to obtain a carry concealed license, you need to go through a very stringent and strict background check. That means you can buy a firearm and hide it so that nobody knows you have it. It's 2020. Does anybody here really believe that a black man who is a legal gun owner and has a carried concealed permit was listening to the police bang on that door and he decided to shoot? Does that make sense to anybody? doesn't to me. The man has no criminal record. And anybody who's watching in the gun friendly states knows to get a carry concealed, dude, you can't jaywalk. You will not get it. He was able to get it. They're banging on the door. This guy shook. Because remember, he knows who her ex boyfriend is. And that's exactly why he bought that gun. So think about the level that this guy was going to be with this young lady. He knew who her ex boyfriend was. And he's like, yo, they going to come get me? At least I'm going to go out with a bang. Because I'm not just going to lay down. Legal gun owner, carry concealed permit, banging on the door. Nobody hears them announce themselves. The door comes off the hinges. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know how you only shot once. I understand why now, but I'm just saying. I would have emptied the clip. I probably would have ended up dead. The door comes off the hinges? These goons is coming to kill me. Remember, you don't know that they're police. And there's no way in that small corridor on which they were standing by her apartment that they couldn't have heard them say police. The walls, the doors, it's in a pocket. It's in sort of like the end of a square. So door, like this, closed off. If you're yelling police, that would have been bouncing off that little corridor. 303 would have heard it. 302 would have heard it. They would have heard it. It would have been coming out of there like a wind tunnel. Police, open the fucking door. The door comes off the hinges. He lets off a shot. They let off hellfire. Now, if you look at the crime scene photos and you see that corridor and you can see all the yellow little numbered stands numbering where all the shells were when they found them, those dudes were practically shooting on top of one another. And there was really nowhere for neither Breonna or her boyfriend to go when that those bullets was coming in. And it's sad that a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he's a sucker. He used her as a shield." Listen, John Wick is not real, bro. You can't. Police have big guns. Their guns go through walls and flesh and the stove and the school bus. There's no way he was using her for no shield. That brother ran. And sorry, but he did. Now, here's where it gets better. Today, about 3 hours ago, they announced that they could not conclusively determine that this young man was the one who fired the shot that hit that cop in the leg. Let me say that again for you. Small corridor, I would say 4 to 5 officers surrounding a door and a window in a small space, let off, I think, 32 bullets. Ballistics reveals that they cannot confirm, and this just came out today, that the bullet that hit that police officer was by the boyfriend. Their argument is that none of the police officers had a 9mm, that they all shot four 40mm guns. But, sorry to say, the officer that got hit was issued a 9mm. Yes, Miss Williams, bullets go through walls. And that's exactly why one of them got indicted, which is a slap in the face. But I digress. Ballistics cannot confirm that it was this young man's bullet that hit that cop. Small corridor, 4 to 6 cops. One shot goes off. Everybody starts shooting. Well, the 3 at the front of the door, let's just say. Does anybody think that these police fucked up? Does that cross anybody's mind that maybe they just fucked up? I think they did. Now, the evidence used to get such an aggressive search warrant, it doesn't jive. But they're not talking about that. All that, like this gentleman, this police officer that I'm, getting this information from and getting the paperwork on the investigation. Oh, she was knee deep in the. I love it. She was knee deep in the dope game. She a thug. You want to be. They're not talking about that because it doesn't suit the narrative. And police are never wrong. So, search warrant obtained on flimsy evidence for a soft target, which they knew was a soft target. They claimed that they identified themselves in a no-knock warrant situation. And why would you need a no-knock warrant for a soft target? On the police report, they reported that there were no injuries. Breonna Taylor was dead. Prior to them entering the edifice, they sent the ambulance away, maybe an hour before they ran in. They entered the residence after all the shooting subsides, after they pull her boyfriend out and handcuff him. They didn't even find a fucking firecracker. No drugs, no guns, no money. Now, that's just the surface of it. Now I come to find out today, 4 days ago, the officer that was fired sent an email 4 days ago to his police brethren. And I'm not going to get into reading it all because I've already dragged this story on long enough and I want to get to my point. But if anybody on here that's interested, I would implore you not only to look up the documents from the investigatory side, but also find that email. If you can't, what I'll do is I'll post it on the set tonight after we get off, so you can read what this bozo said to his police brothers and sisters. Now, Breonna Taylor's dead, and it's a fucking shame. And there's no empathy, there's no sympathy, there's no love from these people. None. She deserved it. She shouldn't have done this. Oh, and blah, blah, blah. And Black Lives Matter only when it's a cop. All this extra bullshit. Guess what? Anybody here care to tell me, name a black or Hispanic or any other man of color that allegedly, because I say allegedly because of this whole ballistic shit, shot a cop and is alive and had his attempted murder charges dropped against him? Let me say that again. Black man, legal gun owner, shoots a cop, attempted murder charges dropped against him. Does that sound right to anybody? Because those police were in there saying, we should have killed that motherfucker, him and his girlfriend. He shot at us. Cops can't even take you talking back to them. He shot at them, and he's alive, and they dropped the attempted murder charges. Charles Barkley's a sucker, even after he had Richard Spencer tell him to his face that he don't want him or his people in this country. Thank you for that, Lenora. So, my point to this whole thing is, don't believe the bullshit that people are telling you on TV. Don't believe the fucking police. Don't believe these damn politicians. Start being introspectively and looking within yourselves and find your empathy and your love for your family and friends and your fellow human beings. Because what is coming, you're going to need it. You are going to need it. And we're all going to need each other. As I've been saying repeatedly on the show, we're going to need each other. There's going to come a moment in time where that's all we're going to have. Each other. And it's very sad. And you got these trifling, oh man, Candace Owens, Larry Elder, Thomas Sowell, Charles Barkley, Shaq. You guys forgot that Shaq became a police officer, right? And they talking out their ass without looking at the facts. And this is something that these people thrive on. Oh, let's wait for all the video to come out, which is another thing. Some of the officers had body cams, and for some suspicious reason, none of them worked. Her boyfriend's suing for $10 million. And when he wins, that is confirmation and all you need to understand that Breonna Taylor's murder was a lot less about drugs and illegal activity than it was as casually taking a black life and not having the integrity to admit that they were wrong. Understand that. Wrap your mind around that. And these are the same people that will discount George Floyd's killing. He was high. They continuously justify the reasoning why state officers, agents of the state, will kill our people. We'll see it on video, and it will be justified because we are meaningless and worthless, and it's a shame. Anyway, no more Breonna Taylor. May she rest in peace. I hope her family finds some sort of peace and understanding to this whole situation. I fret and I worry about all the people that I love and my friends, and the young kids in this world right now that are witnessing all this. It's a shame, and it definitely bothers me to no avail. And it's sad that we as people do not take action. And I mean that like from in every aspect. You know, our children shouldn't have to grow up thinking about being a YouTube star or rap star or shooting a basketball. You know, our children's aspirations should always be greater than our own. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be the next CEO or, you know, running for office. What I do mean is that the lessons that we have learned as adults are then passed on to our children to make them better people and to be better at all the things that we weren't able to be. I think it's really important that young people today start to understand that they have support systems and that these parents, like you and I, will not only stand in the way, but we'll lay down our lives for them. Because it's coming to the point that that's what's going to start happening. This political cycle, if you don't see that there is going to be an amazing amount of political violence in the next weeks to come, leading up to November, you haven't been paying attention. And if you can avoid having to go out to vote, well, your vote's not going to count anyway if you mail your shit in. But if you can avoid it, I would implore you to, because I would hate to hear that anybody that I know and love, you know, having something happen to them. You know, protesters in Kentucky now are being confronted by armed militias, which makes, you know, it makes all the sense in the world to me, because they're being greenlit by law enforcement, which, you know, let's say if we had 100 to 250 men marching like a small army from South America into Kentucky, do you know how fast we would either be shot down or thrown in jail forever? We'd probably be shipped to Guantanamo. But you really have to be vigilant and pay attention to what's going on. And don't get sidetracked. Don't let people get inside your heart and change your heart. And don't ever join the ranks of this ignorance that's happening now. And you know what, Halcyon? Seeing that's the future. That young man has gone through his trials and tribulations, But those trials and tribulations have been supported by an amazing mother, and he's gonna come to he's gonna come to the a greater understanding of who he is from those experiences, and he is gonna rise up. So I wouldn't worry. I see a very great and grand future for that young man, and you're right about that. Well, people, we have some guests lined up in the next few Sundays. I wanted to do a different show today, but it seems like we must be getting back to normalcy because everybody's getting stuck at work. Um, but we're gonna be having some guests come on in the next couple of weeks. We will be doing a special edition this coming Wednesday. We're gonna be having Mr. Alexis Javier from Sulfur Studios, musician and artist from Savannah, Georgia, who will be joining us. And we're gonna be having some other surprise guests in the following Sundays and so on. I hope everybody can join us. I hope everybody's doing well. Does anybody have any questions? Would anybody like to join me in the video to have a quick discussion? You're all welcome if you like. Just raise your hand, and I'll add you. Excuse me, I gotta scratch my foot. Outside of that, um, make sure you tell your children you love them as much as you can, and make sure that you take the moment to appreciate if you have a significant other. Make sure you appreciate them. Let them know that they're loved and they're cared for, and make sure they reciprocate. These days are very, very fragile, and the way things are looking, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom, but life has a funny way of changing at a rapid pace. So before any more serious changes come down or whatever the case may be, take the time out to tell the people that are most important to you that you love them, and especially your children. So I don't see any questions. Sorry to get all serious, but these are things that I wanted to discuss with you guys tonight. Again, we're going to be doing a special edition of the set on a Wednesday night with a Mr. Alexis Javier. Tell people, tell them while they're alive. 2020 is crazy. Mr. Alexis Javier from Sulfur Studios will be joining us on Wednesday. I have a few other guests that are going to be coming. Low volume. Has it been low volume this whole time and nobody said nothing? Got this thing turned up all the way. What's going on? You mean to tell me? Can everybody hear me? I got this thing turned up all the way. How could it be low volume? Well, hold on a second. Lower than usual. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Man, I'm yapping this whole time and nobody's saying nothing. Oh my God. Wow. It's funny because how it's coming in on the monitor, it seems fine. What's up, cuz? You got your pods on? Ah. Hold on a second. Hold on, everybody. How's this? Is this better? Is this better or no? Okay. I think I discovered what the issue was at the end of the show. Amazing. Okay. Man, I've been out here talking for an hour and nobody said anything. Jesus Christ. Okay, so Wednesday, Alexis Javier, Sulfur Studios from Savannah, Georgia. Please tune in. The following Sunday, I have a specific somebody lined up. I won't tell you who it is, but I'll put a shout out on the Facebook page to basically let you guys know who's going to be arriving ahead of time. And once again, Good energy and good vibes to my brother 10474. Salute to you. Again, I hope you make a speedy recovery, brother. And I'm looking forward to having you on the show. We were supposed to link up already 2 or 3 times, man, and things just got in the way. But I wish you a speedy recovery. Everybody who's watching tonight, make sure that if you are curious to understand the true facts and surroundings of Miss Breonna Taylor's killing, that I will be posting the report, the investigatory report, on the set for you guys to read if you want at your leisure. I think it's really important that you guys really understand how the DA and the police just clearly fucked up, you know. And I will also be posting a few other videos that I hope everybody enjoys. If you guys have any suggestions that you want, people that you may want to see on the set, I'm trying to. There's a certain somebody as a comedian that I'm trying to get on the show. I don't know if everybody knows. He goes by the name of Major Hype. I'm trying to start a campaign on Instagram to have him as a guest on the show. I can't pay his speaking fees. I'm hoping he just does it on the love, but I think that's somebody that everybody will enjoy to watch. He's a hilarious guy. He's a comedian, a Caribbean comedian. He does all sorts of characters. If you want, go look him up on Instagram or Facebook. Major Hype is MAJA. And oh, there we go. Okay, so thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. Wednesday, Sofa Studios. Next Sunday, we're gonna be having an amazing guest, and I will be announcing who that is come Friday. Okay. Uh, Thank you for joining me tonight. Be safe out there. I love everybody, and as always, live the life you love and love the life you live. Mr. A from the set. Enjoy your week.